certain things with put South Africa first and being the secretary, and having to juggle whether do I belong in the ANC, whether I can reconcile myself with the ANC, because immigration, especially when you start to speak about immigration, the ANC is the number one enabler. Matilda, yes. Yeah, and then Umpile also. Umpile just came from nowhere. Nobody even knew. So, like, you see now, because the EFF is going to the national conference.
Are you saying slates are endorsed by the leading cabals in the CCT, even from the branches?
Yes.
Are you not talking about Ngobile in
Yes, Matilda Ngobile. Yeah. Even the leaders, I'll refer somebody like Patrick Sindani, for example. And this is more personally because of I've engaged him even after he left the EFF. And for some weird reason, he felt like I'm attacking him. Yes. And he started getting emotional. It's like, no, we're not going to be like you and talk badly about the EFF. I'm like, nobody says talk badly, but I want you to speak your frankness and speak.
Kwena Molekwa. Did I get your name right?
Yeah, no, unlike most actually.
Thank you very much. So, Kwena Molekwa ki the hero wa Chidimma. Chidimma ke Vanessa ne?
It's Chidimma Adetshina or something like that.
Sharp. Ki the lady who has proven South Africa wrong. People were called xenophobes, people were called Afrophobes for saying that woman is not proudly South African. She was vindicated. Machine politically incorrect, so I'm going to give her the platform. She tells us a bit of a background, a bit of a politics. Then we'll start with Chidimma. Please take us through. Tell us your politics, your name, your surname, and just explain your politics. How did you become an activist?
Okay. Kwena Molekwa is, let's say, I've literally grown in a family of activists. Both my parents are former activists in the ANC, in the Youth League, taking part into the struggle of South Africa. So yeah, though my are not obviously I say yeah, unless if you go to the respective communities, then yeah, you would know who my parents are and their contribution towards, you know, the liberation movement of South Africa. So yeah, and after Moe, obviously I think, you know, both the notion that I grew up in a political house, in a house of activists, my parents and being members of the ANC. So yeah, started early ages in the ANC, obviously, and later on, I think most of us started maybe I think 2007 Polokwane conference of the ANC. I was already, you know, interested in politics at that time, but not intrigued like now and or clued up at that time. But yeah, and then afterwards, then I later joined the EFF when it became a political party, and yeah, resonated a lot with, you know, Pan-Africanism and the ideology of Marxism, and, you know, yeah, and yeah, started bit by bit. But I don't think anyone grows to say that, you know, you are politically awakened until you have to do, you know, the political work and be a ground force and now be engaging communities, moving from one house to another. I always say, maybe I remember when I was telling somebody, I'm like, you know, when you're a ground force, it's like a crazy face of somebody in their life, because even if somebody doesn't give you money, it's like you can move from one house to another. Yes. And nothing matters. Even somebody says, when am I like you have the passion. It's something that is burning. So yeah, I started around 2016 with the EFF, and unfortunately by 2019 I left the EFF after elections actually.
And were you disappointed with the failure to win and you left? The reason why did you leave?
On various accounts, I think I've tried to answer this, but let's just do it once again. I left the EFF. One was that I think after I left Gauteng, because I was in Pretoria, and then I moved to Lephalale and started doing the necessary work. I mean, I was part of the people that brought Lephalale EFF to life and whatever. But the challenges was that with the party itself, with the leadership, how they've decided to do things. I remember even when my friends were contesting to be leaders of Student Command. I'm glad that I didn't go to Free State, because if I went there, probably I would have been one of the people that died or one of the people that got injured and stuff like that. So Bo Kamva, Tsepo Kamva, if you do know him, and Goba, that's
what happened to them?
So Goba was actually targeted by the leaders of the EFF, actually, let's just say president of the EFF, Julius at that time, because he didn't want him and replaced Goba with Snawo Tambo. And when people got to the conference, some weird reason, EFF has this DOR structure that is like the military and whatever, but somehow he hired private security to go into a conference of students. I mean, that says a lot. You can't bring a private security into a conference of students and you think that that is supposed to be normal. Like, you are already indicating certain things. So I ended up passing in that time. I was in Cape Town when they got murdered by private security. I remember Lesedi Totesi lost her phone. They beat her up. They said, you want to be the next Mama Win? And they actually even end up breaking her iPhone. So the abuse inside the EFF, it's actually quite brutal, because when leadership doesn't want you and they don't want you to lead any structure, or they don't want you to rise in anything, then they will not just separate you, but it can get even very, very physical to such an extent that even a lot of EFF members, they can't write all those things on social media, and it's quite sad. So we underwent through that. Somebody like myself, even when I got to Limpopo, okay, then, when you are boxed even to be a ground force, which is a good thing, I don't think any party can survive without having activists or ground forces. But if now you're like, okay, I want to raise my hand and say, I want to lead something, or maybe I want to lead my immediate branch. You're not even talking about going to national or whatever. You understand? They control even the merest thing of branch politics. Like, they won't even allow you to be in the top 5 of a branch. So somebody like myself was dealt with inside a branch, and which was okay. I was like, okay, don't tire up and whatever. Find the luckily minded like you, or the separated, or the unwanted. I used to call other members of the EFF the platinum members, because they get special treatment. Because in the EFF, a person can out of nowhere. For example, the deputy secretary of the EFF currently, which she's from Mpumalanga, but Mpumalanga Limpopo, somehow. That girl, nobody knows her. Actually, she just came, and in Tani we were fighting the same battle with she's Swati, not Umpile. Matilda. Yes. Yeah, and then Umpile also. Lena Umpile just came from nowhere. Nobody even knew. So, you see now, because the EFF is going to the national conference.
Are you saying slates are endorsed by the leading cabals in the CCT, even from the branches.
Yes.
Are you not talking about Ngobile in
Yes, Matilda Ngobile. Yeah, now you're talking. That's the person I'm referring to.
Is she back in parliament?
Yes, she is back in parliament. And in Tshwane she was very highly rejected. And yeah, you know,
But she was a councillor here in...
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is like when we say like you're a platinum member. Well, councillor.
No, but she lives here.
She was not living
It's
here.
like you are now
No,
in
before that.
Sunnyside. If you live in Sunnyside, no one should say you are
She
from
wasn't
Mogalakwena.
there. She wasn't there. Ngobile wasn't there. This is no propaganda. She was taken out of nowhere, somewhere called in Mpumalanga. That's where she came. And I mean, we went to Tshwane Regional thingy conference. Kamu EFF, Redibita People's Assemblies,
Yes.
you know. So when we were going there, obviously members know each other. Come on. There was not even a branch person that was say, no, this person belongs to my branch. Good, and then yeah, I was at Tunya. Come on.
Okay.
So this is why I say, like, you know, if only today most people, and unfortunately maybe other people don't want to go deep into this, and especially people that were exposed to power within the EFF or were given certain responsible official, you know, seat. Most of them, because of even the leaders, like I'll refer somebody like Patrick Sindani, for example. And this is more personally because of I've engaged him even after he left the EFF. And for some weird reason, he felt like I'm attacking him.
Yes.
And he started getting emotional. It's like, no, we're not going to be like you and talk badly about the EFF. I'm like, nobody says talk badly, but I want you to speak your frankness and speak your truth because of, you know, Bob Patrick were one of those people that allegedly were, money laundering for the EFF because of when he got money for his wife, life insurance and stuff like that. You understand?
What do you mean?
No, only event, ne? Yeah, the fundraising in Tshwane. Yeah, I'll try to look for a picture for you to just juggle you up with,
please, yes.
with those things, and then but again, every councillor or every branch leader was actually told like a table of
Yes,
one,
to
I mean 10K
yes.
and stuff like that. That is just too much. The councillor, Onyaka spend 10K on a table. I'm such a like and what. This is just somehow, you know, yes. 10K.
Yes.
And that's like the minimum table.
Okay.
Go the round table, yeah, on. And then Patrick at the last hour, and then he pumped money. And then they were like, no, it's fine. You guys can attend. Now it's free. Do you understand?
Oh, after having raised money, the others who could not raise money, they attended for free.
Yes.
So, and then if you say, okay, I know.
You can't say that. Who are you to say such things?
Son.
I mean, you know, this thing you must understand. You know, I always say the EFF politics are good, especially when it comes to discipline and all these things. But the command structure of the things, you apply what is known as Stalinism, which is dictatorship, because you can't contest the leaders. And should you have a different view, then you are told, okay, kana sepela. And yeah, a lot of people for the longest time, I think, you know, I actually even laughed when Paul left. I think he was in studio with you.
Yeah.
I laughed the hardest, and I'm still laughing about it because, wow. Wow, he was one of the people that he was told that he can go, and then he came back. He was doing very well with his breaking
Union.
Then jiki, you know, when you're doing well and then people see you as a brand.
Yeah.
No, a brand that they can use, because the EFF for the longest time wanted to establish the Labour desk, blah, blah, blah. So they put Mpo in, and his NASA ended up dying, you understand? Because you can't have two things. If you're saving...
but he said he left the CCT to go and concentrate on NASA because of the workload?
Mpo, when he left, went to America, he was told that he must never come back. Two different things. When he came back, he started establishing NASA. And then some of us, we were very shocked. I was amongst the people. I was not even speaking terms with Mpo at the time when he decided to kiss the frog, which is Julius again, and be fine. And then when Julius now says, you are no longer important, obviously you leave the CCT. That's how the EFF works. Like, if Julius doesn't value you, you are gonna get out of that place.
So my understanding is Mpo did not go to the CCT by election, right?
No, he didn't.
Was co-opted there.
Yes.
And the reason he left was it not his workload?
Nah. It wasn't.
Yeah, no,
Mara, because of they went into deals with him and whatever. So I think only a few of us that never got to go into deals with Julius can speak freely about him and don't care whether he's gonna do what because of the way he is. He's also another
okay. All right, but no, I know Nobile from the trenches, even before she got deployed to National Assembly. But like I say, you know it better because you're within. Now you knew her from outside the EFF. So our perspective of the same person might be very different.
No, true that.
Yeah, so, and you left and then you went to Action SA?
No, I mean, you don't leave an organization like that. I mean, we've always said EFF was a school, so we learned. I mean, that's what I care. When people think that you leave one organization, and even when you are talking badly about it, there's no good that came with it. There is good that came with it because it did help me shape my political adherence and my political knowledge and ideology, and for me to arrive where I am today and be speaking the politics of saying put South Africa first. So I left the EFF 2019. I think after 2019, you're still a bit slimy.
Yeah.
Are you still a Pan-Africanist? Do you still want to reconcile yourself? Do you see a future outside political home, or it's just the end for you? I think I had a year, which is 2020, and I was not even literally, I was just scaling everywhere. I remember getting the local government 2021. I end up voting for Mpolewela, if you do know him, in Sunnyside in 81. So you see, you don't just
go branch of Majuda.
Because his people are my people. Bob Polite and other activists, they convinced me. They're like, hey, support Mpo, a young man, what, he's a hard worker from Bushback Ridge, all those things. So and then we voted for him, and then but still unsettled because of at that time already I was like, I had already embarked on certain things with Put South Africa First and being the secretary, and having to juggle whether do I belong in the ANC, whether I can reconcile myself with the ANC, because immigration, especially when you start to speak about immigration, the ANC is the number one enabler, is at the core of it. Do you understand? So, and at the same time now you're like, okay, if I go join a party like, maybe Action SA, for example, in that time, people are gonna say, oh, she joined the White Party, or if I join the DA, you understand? Because you're like, okay, I'm still trying, okay, am I now leaving this whole ideology of Pan-Africanism and literally moving away, as if it's not something that I consumed half of my life and whatever. So that was it.
That particular moment, Mandela had a very difficult moment. He said when he left prison, let's just call it Victor Verster era, where he said he was speaking to the whites and he had lost trust with his comrades. It was a very difficult time for him. That's Mandela. For you guys, I've realized that between Wena, Mpho, le Raisibe, your departure from EFF wasn't easy because you were deeply in the party.
No,
and people think it was a decision overnight, and this is why you struggled with leaving them. Like you say, you left, but you were still drawn. Mpho did the same thing. I mean, when he came back from USA, things were not nice because it wasn't nice, and it wasn't easy for you guys to detach wholeheartedly with EFF. And when you talk about EFF, people antagonize you so hard that even if you don't want to fight back, you end up spilling beans, and then you become an enemy of the EFF.
I do that a lot. It's quite unfortunate.
But did you intend to fight them back when you left? Because Mpho, it was clear in his letter, he said, no, I don't want. I know there's going to be a withdrawal against me. But Mpho was very nice when he left, but people kept attacking him. I mean, even Marshall wrote him that feedback letter. It wasn't nice. How hard is it to leave the EFF?
I think, when you join a political party and you join wholeheartedly with everything invested, you become passionate of a political party. I was one of those people. I always said that, if you go to communities that I've been, especially in Lephalale, and you ask them about me, they most likely not going to believe that I probably left the EFF. Like, it's going to be very hard because I think I represented the EFF, to a certain extent, and I lobbied for the EFF. I worked the ground for EFF. I dedicated my life, spent my time, and when you wake up, hey, Mam Klamaraya, Ngapusha membership. What's a membership? Like, no, I'm more, I'm going to work. And then, you pride yourself with that. And so you don't necessarily start to leave an organization and think that, you're supposed to attack individuals or the party itself. And now, unfortunately, where I am, I'm not involved inside the politics of EFF. Like, Otla the member Raja EFF, they come to me because they know me, and they're like, Kwena no, go Twitter. And I'm like, guys, people just gonna think that I'm still like, drawn back and whatever. Okay, obviously it's good to know what are they still doing day and day, so I can strategize and see what we can do better and stuff like that. But I mean, literally, I hardly look for information about EFF. I mean, when I was exposing Chinese stuff, I think last year, when I was talking about what other people are doing and whatever, it's because there's a second party.
What was that? What were you exposing in Twan?
No, I was talking about the article, the secretary.
Estabas.
Yes.
Estabas and Dunga. Is it you who leaked it?
No, I'm not the one who leaked it. I swear. Literally, I'm not. Now it's all raging. Mutu yon tumela Sunday Times here, like I'm holding on.
Yes.
I'm be like Rafeja. Harbo fan, mawelela, level mo. Kare, yay, happy na ditabaje dia fish. Eriki dishe
on the media.
On the Twitter.
Okay.
So Nambile wa wana utwa mo wa thomo tla le jabo over king gore bo over king ba dira di ghost membership. So still I see it just ordinary people. It's ordinary members, but most of them they work for the EFF Kitty Ground Force and they are very unhappy. So give on like that would come to me and give me information. I mean full time, sure. And that's one thing for sure. So obviously, how do I now
Oh. Okay, so you've got spooks inside EFF who feed you with this information?
No, they do all sorts of information from national to province to regions of the EFF, you know.
Yeah. Let's talk about the conversion. How did you, or maybe I'm just preempting things. When you were still inside the EFF, what was your thinking around open borders and jobs in South Africa not being available for South Africans? That, I think I'm putting it more direct. Jobs in South Africa not being available for South Africans because the employers would want to minimize labor cost by hiring foreigners. When you were in the EFF, what was your feeling about it?
You know, when I was in the EFF and which march was it? Because EFF we used to march a lot, guys. Yo, organization a lot la march. Yeah. So when I was in the EFF, I think was already shut down, and Julius was talking very, very good about this issue. And he was talking even the issues that today I'm championing for, you know, put South African first. He'll be like, "But I'm really bored." I think there's a picture of him if you do know of it. Yeah, so Keropela, my cousin, was even working on Cubana Sunny side at that time, you know, and Julius was busy talking about those issues that affect people in the hospitality sector in general, you know, or South Africans are actually, you know, overlooked for migrants and stuff like that. And that's how we started now, you know, some of us like
it touched.
I was like, but the open border policy, when I was still in the EFF, I think, like most EFF members, not necessarily I was agreeing or disagreeing. And I want to talk more about the agreement. The agreeing part, even today, it doesn't matter whether I'm Action SA and I'm still saying put South Africa first. There's, I think, you know, the African trade policy that is there already, but it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And it comes with this notions of open borders. So we do have it for SADC and it's for even the larger part of Africa. But, you know, if you go look at it and you look at it correctly, it's actually more beneficial for people that are bringing stuff or goods from, you know, America and China, and then they are sold amongst Africans. So it's very sad. And that policy on its own, we were not opening our borders, but it's more for trade to make things move very easily between the African countries in order for us to do businesses with each other, which I do not actually have any problem or I don't have anything that I oppose with the policy. But there is the implementation that I do have a problem with. And even with the open border, you understand, if you listen correctly or you read what the EFF had written of open border, how they're supposed to be managed, and how they believe that, you know, open borders, you're gonna, you know, control certain things, maybe control the number of people as they come in. But I don't think we were, myself, for example, I was not at the stage where to understand that that meant documenting illegal foreigners in South Africa, and even themselves, I don't think they were that clear. Only probably now, because, you know, I will say manifesto EFF wrote Homa. It wasn't 28 pages. It started very small, so it expanded with time. So even as the understanding of, you know, border management or immigration in South Africa, we didn't see this thing as a problem in the beginning. And even with the ANC itself, they've never seen the danger or the national security threat that comes with illegal migration, you know. So all those things, they come with time when you are expanding and you're like, okay, and you start to look at the issues that are affecting the immediate communities and the larger issues that today now we do have, especially when you talk about about, who can come inside the country and nobody knows and leave the country, because it happens regularly now. So those are the things. I don't think any person, especially even the policymakers of South Africa, in a certain time, and that's the reason why we even have what is known as not just open borders only, but we have an open integration system in South Africa, because of Africa we have integrated so many people, and I speak that because of, I can't say that it did not exist before. Integration was always there because of Bafaladi. I get he motho le mofaladi ga tswa kae e sona le rena seng sa rena I get go na le gore motho ba re utlwile plekeng kae be ba re khalala e re thoma go tlhalefo bona le ntola gore ba fisha baloi o fitla community ke mofaladi I get o fiwa lefase o fiwa dintlo o dira eng kana mogo. So as se fela re batho ba go ntle le rena within our communities themselves we have integrated people because of they came wherever. So le bona ma Africa a rile ga ya ba gore ke integration arna problem le yona, not knowing what is going to happen in future, what are the consequences, what will be the threat of such a society. So even open borders, the disadvantage of it now, it started to actually be more as now we are expanding into the problems that now South Africans are faced with. And you're like, okay, I was agreeing maybe a bit with this. Okay, maybe my 60% was agreeing and my other 40 was still, trying to build capacity, understanding towards it. And then, I was like, this can't be, because of if we are just gonna have an open border, what about the national security threat? What about the counterfeit goods that are coming inside the country? Because the trade system that we do have with other African countries now, instead of actually empowering young Africans in SADC and throughout Africa, it's not doing that. It's more beneficial for criminals, and those are the defaults of the system. And you can't look away and say, no, it's okay, we're already losing a lot of money with South African revenue services. They are not able to cap certain things, and life goes on somehow, and we are expected to build this globalized South Africa, because now there's a global agenda again also inside South Africa that is taking part. And that's when now we start to even speak about the issues of people like Chidimma, and there's notions or narratives that people do share that no, because of a child now necessarily they are born in South Africa, then automatically they are South African. And that is not our laws. It has never been our laws. And people now dodging the responsibilities that they do have with their embassies, because of these African embassies inside South Africa, they are not doing what they're supposed to do. And that's the reason why you would find people fighting, saying that Home Affairs must give their kids certificates. That's not our responsibility as a country. You understand? Yes, we accommodate you. You give birth, your relevant country embassy is supposed to be...
Record the birth.
Yes. But somehow
certificate of birth,
yes,
recognize the birth
and recognize the child.
Yes.
So, but somehow in South Africa, everything must fall down to the South African government. It can't work that way. That's not a system. It's people dodging their responsibilities. Like people now, they have dumped their people because of, if maybe Nebadra something would say they are trying, at least they are failing, but they are not doing anything. And that comes even with the issues of the political heads that we do have inside the country, and the implementation and the enforcement of everything else. So, yeah.
So you are the face of, and I'm using wrong attributes here, you are the face of the anti-Chidimma story. When Chidimma story broke, I followed you and I knew you were coming with the information. And not only me, but a lot of people I credit you with the Chidimma story, because you were relentless. I will talk about the hardships later. Mm-hmm. But did you know Chidimma before, or someone gave you something and then you looked, it said it didn't make sense and you pursued it. What happened with the Chidimma story and how did it start?
How the Chidimma story started, it's quite funny. I don't know if maybe, but I don't think you were following me at the time. My first tweet was, I actually put pictures of everyone that I believed that were not verified South Africans. I remember even the Chinese girl, I put her picture up, and Lambota, I forgot the candidate's name actually.
I don't know what the pageant is.
Yeah.
I watched you for the pageant.
So yeah, I put everyone's picture. I think that tweet on itself got like 1.2 million views.
What sparked it for when it was just a random thing?
For me, it was now reading, the surnames of these candidates, and some of them now, like some surnames looks like, okay, I think this other girl, they said she's from because I was like, why is she not using her full surname?
Yes.
Why it's in South Africa this year? Because of already we had encountered this girl, Melissa, the one with a Ugandan father and a Xhosa mother, before the Chidimma.
Okay.
There was Melissa. Okay. So
what is it, this year or last year?
Last year.
I missed that.
So because of we spend so much time into saying we are fighting for patriotism and stuff like that. So obviously, Lena Corona, maybe you are starting to catch up with us.
Sure.
So there was Melissa who was there, and the funniest part, Melissa was like, she put the South African flag and then the Ugandan flag because the parents are, and she was using her dad's surname and stuff like that. You understand? So this is now, it comes even with that. So with Chidimma and all these girls, even that girl from Groblersdal, because I put her there because I wanted to understand what is her surname, because you can't just be Gloria Spanibani. South Africans, we know each other even with surnames. Even if I don't know you, you know my surname. Man, man, no, something was not adding up. So, unfortunately, there was already elections. Yeah. So, but then I promised patriots, I was like, no, me and my team will start to investigate. So we started going through Miss South Africa's thingy. Website and to see these people's surnames. So then started with that, and the target wasn't Chidimma only, even the Chinese lady, we started going after her. There's this one with the Scottish background, you understand? So I always say, when you speak about African migrants, and when you speak about migrants from outside South Africa, and which are mostly white, people think that we are scared of them, blah blah blah, which is the wrong narrative, guys. Because usually in South Africa, if I ask another black person, just explain. I think I did that with Melisizwe, and yesterday he came to the march. He was there with us because I suspected that he's the great-grandson of Mandela, that the father was Ghanaian, and they're still entitled to use the Mandela surname somehow. So you do find such cases in South Africa, but people take offense. If I start to ask you, Kwena Mang, I don't think that's a problem. You can even ask me of my lineage if you want to know who I am. So you understand? Do I have root? Am I rooted? Do I know where I come from? All those things. So a lot of times when you start to ask, and then you ask maybe African migrants, it's like, don't ask us. You're xenophobic. It doesn't work. Just answer the questions. Did you?
So the automatic reply could Kwena ungenapi. If I'm of
it's not about ungenapi. I mean, that's it's so easy. Just answer. To show you are a proud South African. For example, if you went to school in South Africa, they would know you other South Africans that you went to school with, your classmates would know you. They would even vouch for you. So when I put that tweet up, obviously now I got a lot of views. Obviously I got even a lot of engagements, and people were like, no, this one, we went to school with her. So you even start to build up. It becomes very easy. You start to build up, case files and files of each. And so then now comes this Chidimma issue. Chidimma now, okay, she's on a clip, on a video, saying that she's from Soweto. And then, no Soweto person comes and says, I know this girl.
Also, in short, you just took the contestants, you threw them up, people caught their own lovey-doveys. Chidimma fell because no Sowetans came up to claim her.
No one came to claim her. Even that's why I say this girl from Khobula's Dala, forgot her name, unfortunately. I'm very sorry about that. She's a lovely girl. Actually, later on, I started knowing her. We share common friends because of my friends in Gen First.
Yes.
So, yeah, and then they're like, no,
Yes.
Yeah, and then it's so easy. Like in South Africa, trust me, as much as even myself, if somebody throws me, they will be like, class, or you're over 1, 2, and 3. You know how we are as South Africans. So now, like, it's so easy. Even if maybe you went to the most private school, somebody doesn't want to write on a timeline, they will come to a DM and say, no, that girl, we are bullying the wrong girl. No, you understand? It's not even about emotions. They will just tell you, oh, we went to school together. Oh, I know her aunt. Hey, what? You will even probably hear what you're not even supposed to hear. But yeah, then Chidimma was like, so Chidimma from Soweto. Okay, we're in Soweto now. That became
a problem.
It became now a task, actually, because of I'm the one that later had to reveal where in Soweto. And when somebody gave me information, and now people were coming and saying, no, we know Annabelle because of the sister, and they used to run Shebeens in Soweto, where they stay, you understand? But they don't know Chidimma. So, which now it becomes like interesting. Okay. How come no one in Soweto? I mean, Soweto is just another ngabuja ko gae ko Limpopo man. O tlo ba le motho mong a khonagala gore everyone a jo go tshaba e khonagala le wena wa itseba gore go re le ba ka re motho wa tlhomphiwa ko gae ba re ke
from her school. She went to a private school, I understand.
She went to a high school in Cape Town, yes, and it's a private school.
Okay, primary school?
Primary school, what I've gathered also, it's in Cape Town. So she's been a Cape Townian for all her life.
So now this Soweto thing, she's born there or she's from there? What does it mean?
In her video, she said she is from Soweto, Joburg. Like, okay. But then primary school, everything, all her life has been Cape Town.
So Cape Townians didn't claim her?
And they didn't claim her.
And then the story unfolds. And then from there, when this started getting headlines where ordinary men like us started seeing this and then following you, at that stage, what did you gather, and why did people start calling you a xenophobe for asking that? And now one of the things that was confusing me, I was told the father came and said, no, Kingwanaka, she was born, blah, blah, blah. And there's a story of the father and the mother. Okay, the mother was Mozambican, and then the stepmother is South African. That part, please explain. I got so confused. I could not understand.
Let me tell you, in the media, and I remember, I think it's Sunday World, that wrote that Chidimma has a mother of Mozambican roots and Zulu South Africa.
And another said the mother is stepmother. What is happening?
I can't remember. Let me tell you, we are not fighting, as much as we are laughing, my brother. Yes. We are fighting a globalized agenda. So a globalized agenda is that it's not enough to be a South African. You can't be a South African only.
They need to attach.
Sanje ba wa attach somewhere. It's tshwana le rena ga ne bja like somebody can say, Kwena, you are not a full South African. Yeah, your ancestors are not from here. I don't have like it's a big outside South Africa. So somebody when they say that to me, like sometimes I actually want to ask Kante badimu ba ka ba tswa kae because of badimu ba nna ke reng ke na le bona. Ke bana mo South Africa. Mabitla bona maybe a ka ba le ko kae kae mara a tswa mo. So the thing with that was that they were trying to control this narrative, like to press this thing and about Chidimma in at all costs. It doesn't matter. Korea. You understand? So somehow she's Mozambican, somehow she's Zulu at the same time. Yeah,
but then did the father really speak?
The father spoke, and I was actually, blacklisted to be a liar because Chidimma's father did an interview, which I end up getting from sources on TikTok, that how he came inside the country in 2010 during the World Cup.
The father?
Yes. And it goes to the issues of tourist visa that we do have inside the country, because tourist visa in South Africa is the reason why we have this immigration crisis today. Because wherever they come from, and they know that you're gonna be given 30 days. And then you can stay in South Africa. And then some of them disappear off the system. Some of them become asylum seekers with fraudulent, papers of asylum seeking. And the fact that they're already inside the country and the person says, I'm applying for asylum, you can't necessarily chase them, which is the UN law and stuff like that. But we're supposed to relook into why they came inside the country and on what ground are they applying for asylum seeking, you understand, or refugee status. And they need to be stated correctly, those reasons. So in South Africa, we sort of have a backlog at the same time, because of these issues are not actually attained correctly, and our government has for the longest time actually not been able to ask people, or like if you are saying you're an asylum seeker, because you do find people from even Zimbabwe, let's say even Ethiopia today, saying that they are asylum seekers, and you ask them, is there war in Ethiopia? Then it's xenophobia, like, is there war in Nigeria? And you understand. So then the tourist visa that Chidimma's father used in 2010 then disappear off the system. Then next minute he is married to a South African woman, which happens to be Chidimma's mother, Annabelle Rungu. Yeah. So I got sources myself, and that's why I say, I rely so much on information from third parties, and that information usually it goes even for you to verify. But it shows how much South Africans trust me, and they don't trust the mainstream or traditional media that is out there, because of but who are like fed up with the media, because usually they try so much to control the narratives. Even if you give them a very good scoop or and you say, I know this, they won't follow up on it. So I got somebody that said, no, I know Annabelle Rungu myself, and we were in business, and we were transporting things. And I wrote about it on Twitter, and I'm like, okay. And then the lady said, because she is from Mozambique and her father is from Lesotho, and then they end up losing their passport when they got arrested at OR Tambo when they were transporting, the white powder.
Yes.
So, and then she's like, that's when Annabelle got the fake South African papers.
So she could sneak through the system. She's no longer that record of having been arrested, then
it's erased.
Yes.
But remember, even our police system fails us so badly, because the lady was like, even now if you go check, you would find that that thing doesn't exist, because of the docket was later bought by Annabelle's husband, which is Chishi's father. So we are in a country where it's just you can buy your way out. If you are poor, then unfortunately Kwena Molekwa works because of you can't afford it. So this person was like, no, this is the information. And I had to go, undergo and ask people for favors. And there are South Africans that I would say maybe in the Home Affairs that did assist me, And yeah, they were like, no, give us maybe the ID number if you do have and stuff like that. And obviously now if you are looking for sources as people that are near, they are better. And there is one lady, I can't even mention her name even today. She also stays around Summer Greens in Cape Town. She was a very close family member. She is the one that assisted a lot with the whole thing of me posting this information and investigating Chidimma, because she said to me, I even left that life, but I don't want anyone to know who I am. So do your work, Kwena.
These pictures of her standing, I saw these pictures of her standing against the wall, skinny, with a boyfriend, and then other pictures where she was with a kid, and people are saying she can be 23, she was once married, and then she had a baby. Please dispel and because some of these things that we end up not knowing what is true.
Let me tell you, with Chidimma, this is why actually this whole story became now like my intriguing moment, even myself, because of what the media was writing now and what Chidimma was saying. And then comes a time where you go to TikTok. Chidimma was using the Mozambican flag and Nigerian flag. There was never even a South African flag on her TL. You understand? She had already known that she's not South African. You understand? So now this whole thing now comes with that. It comes even when that source of mine said to me, Chidimma got married to this guy, and at that time I didn't know the guy's real name. So King Sofa, actually, that's what they call him. I forgot his Nigerian name. Sorry, guys, don't blame me.
It's fine, it's okay.
So I had to go now start to investigate King Sofa. And he started deleting pictures. Like, deleting.
Yes.
I get, people